Alrighty. Hello everybody. Welcome again to Gaming with MS Kane. I'm going to continue my speedrunning adventures with, not speedrun in this case, just my adventures on Final Fantasy gaming. I've been playing a bunch of Final Fantasy games on my old emulator right now, because all the speedrunning watching has been getting me in the mood. This is Final Fantasy V that I'm playing now. I decided to show off this particular part. If you watched my previous videos, I was just posted with about how I was using the emulator's speed up function to make everything go super quickly. That is what's happened here as well. Because it says I've been playing for 77 hours. This isn't true. I've only been playing this for about 10 to 15-ish. But I've been using the emulator to master all the jobs. Before I go any further, anyone who has not played Final Fantasy V and wants to play it themselves and doesn't want any spoilers on the story or anything, you should stop now. If you're familiar with it, a bunch of this will probably be old hat to you, especially if you play it casually. Because of it's not as easy as the river trip in Final Fantasy VI, because you can't just leave the computer alone with a turbo thing running, as I did. But I can just go back and forth by giving my characters the Berserk stat from the Berserker. They will automatically win battles for me as long as I keep an eye on some of their hit points and stuff, and so I can wander back and forth and just pick up job points until I've mastered all the abilities, like I have. This is one of the neat things about Final Fantasy V, is that when you master jobs, you can go back to being jobless, and being jobless is not as bad as it is in reality because you have really awesome stats and a lot of the abilities of your base character classes. So you can use any equipment as well, and you automatically have access to things like dual wielding without equipping it. All my characters are dual wielding items that are really cool. Some of the best weapons and stuff, and so I can just give whatever abilities I want that are awesome, such as 4 times attack with the dual wielding. It's like Genji Glove Offering. You do attack 8 times per round and everything dies. So it makes you really powerful by mastering all the job classes, but it takes a long time to grind this out. As you can see, it was taking me 77 simulated hours. It's one of the neat things about Final Fantasy V. I'm kind of a little bit more excited for Final Fantasy V right now because it's one of the games that's going to be speedrun at AGDQ. Big Fung Balls is going to be speedrunning that, and I'm rather looking forward to it. It's one of the games I'm looking most forward to, along with, of course, Final Fantasy VI, and as I've said repeatedly, Seiken Densetsu 3. So that's got me excited. So I decided to play it again. Final Fantasy V is, in my opinion, kind of the redheaded stepchild of the Super Nintendo games. The first time I played it, I absolutely hated it. I love the job class and I love grinding, so all this grinding to get all these abilities is a big thing for me. That's, one of the things that's that's one of my fetishes when I play role-playing games like this, JRPGs, video game role-playing games. Lots of stuff to do to max out my abilities and such. I'm going to use a tent really quick and recover some more mana. So I'm fully ready. Quickly rest up. Same by Galoof is still low, and so is Fair. So one more. So, story-wise, where I'm at right now is I just arrived on the second world. Again, going forward, these are spoilers. If you don't care about spoilers and you want to know what's going on, you start with this main character whose name is Butts. This is, it's Butts in this version because this is once again the translation, this is an English translation patch for the Super Nintendo version since I'm playing on my Super Nintendo emulator here, rather than PlayStation or other things that I have it on. Butts is just a wandering adventurer until he picks up this princess from Typhoon, Lena, and this crazy old man, Galoof. They meet up with this pirate named Ferris in order to form their party. They are chosen as the guardians of the crystal. Like many Final Fantasies, there are 4 crystals in this world of these people that grant great power, and they're actually responsible for the world existing. And without the crystals, the world is going to die. And at the very start of the game, the air crystal breaks. The crystal of wind, rather, breaks. Shatters into pieces, and its shards give you the power of these jobs to gain all these abilities. The first few jobs you get: Knight, Thief, Monk, White Wizard, Black Wizard, Blue Wizard. Those abilities come to you so you can switch between these jobs, and you have to go on a quest to try to save the other crystals. And you do a lousy job. The water crystal breaks, the fire crystal breaks, finally only the earth crystal is left, and Galoof, who arrived in the meteor and lost his memory, finally remembers that he came from another world, just like he did 30 years ago, in order to stop X-Death. They sealed him away 30 years ago, this dark mage of X-Death, and they sealed him with the power of the crystals. So with the crystals breaking, that will release his seal, and then he's going to doom both your world and Galoof's world as well. And so suddenly the fact that the world is going to die if the crystals shatter, the wind stops blowing, which is a major plot point, water is going to stop flowing and will dry up because the water crystal broke, the world's going to grow cold because the fire crystal died, but not only that, but now X-Death's going to be released. So they tried to save the last crystal but failed miserably at that as well. And so X-Death is relieved. Well, who cares about that? Galoof's granddaughter Kara arrives in another meteor, picks up Galoof, and they go back to their world in order to stop X-Death. Sorry, your world's done. This is one of the reasons why I hated Final Fantasy V in a lot of ways, because its story was just one horrible thing after another, and they just forget about it. It's like, oh, can't the heroes catch a break? Not so far, because we decided that we weren't going to, live on our dying world, although once again, the fact that the world is essentially doomed regardless of what happens never comes up. They decide Lena, Ferris, and Ronnie, or Butts. Again, I name the hero after myself always, even a stupid hero in a stupid game like Butts. Lena, Butts, and Ferris decide that they're going to journey to this world in order to help Galoof fight X-Death. Of course, they immediately get captured as soon as they arrive, and so Galoof goes on a solo Mission Impossible mission to rescue us, which we just did. We just escaped the castle, and we are going on to the big bridge. This is one of the cooler parts of the game, particularly because of how the music in on the big bridge. So we're gonna see that now. And so here's 4 times attack with dual weapons. My most powerful weapons right now are actually Doom Sickle Axes, which also occasionally cast Doom, but I kind of like the Ashura Katanas better because I'm just a sword guy. I like swords. So with my overpoweredness, this is not going to be a very hard fight. Here's the music. I have 2 times magic, which you get from mastering Red Mage. It's mostly worthless, but in this case it allows me to double cast summoning spells for goodness sake. This is one of the many overpowered abilities you get. Look at that! 2,000 damage. Twice. Of course, I'm also, as just a peripheral to the fact that I'm gonna stop talking so you can enjoy the music. Just watch. Although coming up is the best guy in the game, Gilgamesh. Oh, that's not gonna work. Lena is equipped with a ribbon, which normally only dancers can equip, but it gives a huge amount of stats as well as resistance to all elements. It's the best helmet in the game, and you get one pretty early in this if you try to get everything. As I do. Nobody needs to do anything when Lena can do this. I'd actually forgotten when I started playing this game. Gilgamesh. I've been waiting behind this door all this time. I was getting anxious about what I'd do if you didn't show up. Gilgamesh is a real amusing character. His lines are super awesome in the Game Boy Advance version of this game. That was a counter. I think the katanas have a high crit rate. Makes them awesome. Hahaha. On a speedrun, taking certain paths, they can actually avoid all these monster spawns. I really don't care. I believe in fighting fights that you're supposed to fight, not skipping them. Which is one of the reasons why I'm such a horrible speedrunner. Simply because of all the grinding I've been doing to get job classes, I just happen to have also leveled up so high that everything is super duper easy. Even though the story of this game really does drive me nuts, there are a lot I appreciate about it. It's a pretty fun game in its execution. It's kind of the opposite of Final Fantasy VIII. I think that all the Final Fantasies are pretty awesome. But Final Fantasy VIII I was never able to play, simply because of how it deviated from normal Final Fantasy gameplay. I mean, to say that, they do unique things all the time, but, you know, as you can see from my method of grinding, of playing, I like to grind. I like to get lots of experience and master abilities. And when I do that, I'm much more powerful than monsters. And also you get lots of money, so you can buy everything you want. But those don't really have that big of an effect in Final Fantasy VIII. And that was the thing that really drove me nuts about it and why I couldn't even play it. But story-wise, its story was always supposed to be excellent, and the bit I've seen of the story and read about it, as crazy as it is with time travel, which is always sometimes ludicrously painful in its execution, it was still a really fun story, and with beautiful love story, and I'm a romantic, so I love stories like Squall and Renoa. You know, so I really appreciate that, but personally I can't play the game. This, on the other hand, the fact that your guys can't do anything drives me nuts, but it's still a fun game to play, especially when you grind up like this. And, you know, speedrunning is, again, a totally different animal, because you don't nearly do what I do here. I spent 77 hours on this game. A normal speedrunner would finish the game 15 times in that length, probably more with the way they've been rooting it now and doing new things that are shaving off a lot of time here. It's really building up steam as a speedrunning game in America, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, I just want to show off the battle on the big bridge. I'll probably do more later when we go to other Gilgamesh fights, because Gilgamesh is just a really fun recurring boss. And unlike certain of the ones in Final Fantasy VI, he has a complete story. Because Ultros, you have all these fights with Ultros. There's no rhyme or reason to him whatsoever. He's a joke boss, but then he has debts at the Colosseum, and he's working there, and that's all you see in the world of Ruin. And so, but that's it. And then there's Siegfried, who looked like he was supposed to be the new Gilgamesh. You encounter him a couple times, and he's a loudmouthed poser, but then you suddenly fight him in the arena, and he's actually powerful, and you talk to him a few times, and he does a couple of weird things in a couple of places, but you never find out what his purpose is. I think it's one of the loose ends that they never tied up in Final Fantasy VI that they should have. So, anyway, that's that. So I really like Gilgamesh, so especially for Gilgamesh Fight 4, I think I'll return and do this again and show a little bit. So, hope you enjoyed this bit of Final Fantasy V, and I'll talk to you guys later.